In this problem, we have to find the count of all the subarrays in a given array, which is divisible by k. And here we have to just return the count, but our algorithm will work exactly like that when we want to find the exact subarrays also. So let's see, this has been asked in a company called Twilio and ByteDance, and it's a medium level problem in LeetCode. So let's take an example. Here we are given an array A. So you can see that it has both positive and negative numbers. And then we have a value of k is equal to 5. That means we have to find the subarrays whose sum is divisible by 5. So what we will do, let's take one example. We will need to return the count of all the subarrays, but let's take one example. Let's say we just return 0. Then it's divisible by 5. Similarly, if you return this part 5 0, then this sum is 5, which is divisible by 5. Similarly, if you take this entire thing, this is minus 5, so again this is 0, so again divisible by 5. So we have to find the count of that. So before jumping into that solution, let's see a generic array. So let's say we have an array, we have some numbers from here, some numbers in this array, and this is some index I. And down the line we have some another index j, and our number is k. That is, we want to find the subarray whose sum is divisible by k. Now let's say we sum from beginning. We keep track of what is the sum from beginning till this, from beginning till this, from beginning till this. Let's say the sum till I is si. This is from 0 to I. Let me write it like this: 0 to I. And this is S0 to J. Let's say this K is 5. Let's take a simple example. And this sum from beginning till here, it's 22. So is it divisible by 5? No. Why? Because we have 2 extra. Or you can say 3 less. So surplus of 2 or deficiency of 3. Both are same thing. We can solve using both, but let's stick to surplus, since we have a ready-made operator called modulo in all the programming languages, which returns exactly that. So if we do 22 modulo 5, it will return 2, the surplus or the remainder. So from beginning till here, the sum is 22. So what's preventing it from being divisible by 5? It's this extra 2. So let's say this index was index 12. So from 0 to 12, the sum is 22. And let's say this index is 20. And let's say S0j is 52. Again, from 0 to 20, it's not divisible by 5 because we have 2 extra. So from beginning till here, we have just 2 extra. And from beginning till here also, we have just 2 extra. So what can we say about sum from here to here? Just after this, if you take this sum, in this part, we don't have any extra. So we had 2 extra accumulated right at this index itself. And when we reach here, still the extra is 2. So that means this region is completely divisible by 5. So the sum of this region will be 30. So clearly, if we find some repeating remainders, then we can safely say that between that subarray, after this index till this index, the sum will be exactly divisible by 5. So this is what this concept we will use in our solution. So what we will do, we will start from beginning, keep track of the running sum. So we will just do one pass of this array and not twice. And what can be the maximum number of these remainders? So either it's completely divisible by 5, in that case remainder will be 0. Or there can be 1 extra, 2 extra, 3 extra, 4 extra. There cannot be 5 extra. For example, if 10 is divisible, 11 has 1 extra, 12 has 2, 13 has 3, 14 has 4 extra, but 15 does not have 5 extra. It becomes again divisible by 5. So we can have only 5 values. Or in general, we can have at max k values. In this case, k was 5. So let's keep track of the running sum. I will write S here. And let's write the indices also: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So till here sum is 4. Here it's 9. Again 9. 7, 2 and 3. So let's verify again. 4, 9, 9. 9 minus 2 is 7. 7 minus 3 is 4. And this is 5. Now what we will do, we are not bothered about the sum itself. And also we don't need to keep it in a separate array. This I have written for explanation purpose. We will just need to keep track of the previous value, sum till this. If you know sum from 0 to, let's say, 10th index, then in order to calculate sum from 0 to 11th, you just need the 11th value and the previous sum. So we will just have one variable for this and not the entire array. So for, let's see, these are the sums. Now let's take their modulo. This modulo is 4. This modulo is again 4. This is again 4. This is 2. This is 4. This is 0. So what can we say? The count of 0 remainder is 1. This one. Count of 1 is 0. 2. There is 1 here. 3. Nothing. 4. We have 4. Now using this only, we can find the exact number of subarrays. So let's say we have a surplus of 2 at different indices. Let's say here, 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 here. Let's take 4, or you can say 4. Let's take this concrete example. So there are 4 indices, which if we sum from beginning till that index, there is an extra 4. If we did not have that extra, that sum would have been divisible by 5. So now let's count the subarrays. So from beginning till here, there is surplus of 4. So this is not a valid subarray. So what we said that after this, from here to this will be completely divisible by 5. And we had seen the logic here. Why? The same will be true for if we pick any 2 indices. So how many such subarrays can be there? N choose 2. And in this case we have 4. So 4 choose 2, that is 4 multiplied by 3 divided by 2. That is 6. So 6 we have. And for 2 there is only one index. So there is no way of, there is no such interval will not exist. We need at least 2. So this does not help. Or in general, what you can say, if this count is C, then it will be C choose 2 is C times C minus 1 by 2. So this is the formula. And we need to handle the 0 case separately. So if we have 2 zeros, let's say at index this, let's say 3, then 1 will be this, 1 will be this, and 1 will be this. So 3 will come from 3 choose 2. So 3 into 2 by 2. So 3. But these themselves are also. So, and from 0 to this is a valid subarray since the sum is 0. The surplus is 0. So this is a valid subarray from beginning till this. Similarly for this, for each data point. So for 0th case, we will write n choose 2 plus n. For all the other cases, we will add n choose 2. And hope this logic is clear. For 1, it will automatically be 1 multiplied by 1 minus 1 divided by 2. So this is 0. So it will be 0. So we don't need to handle these cases separately. For 0 also, these are 0. So 0 times 0 minus 1, that is minus 1 by 2. So this is also 0. This is also 0. For 0 case, we will just need to add this extra n since these indices themselves are valid subarrays from beginning till this point. For all the other cases, if we have 4 indices which are having same remainder, same extra values, then pick any two values, any 2 indices, and this is a valid subarray. After this till this. So that number of ways of choosing that is n choose 2, which is n multiplied by n minus 1 divided by 2. Now let's write the logic for this. One more thing to note is that there will be a small difference when writing in different languages. If you're working with Java and C++, then in this, if you take like 12 modulo 5, it's 2, or 2 modulo 5, it's 2. If you take minus 2 modulo 5, it returns minus 2. So for negative, it returns negative, in negative, both in C++ and Java. But in Python, modulo will always return between 0 and 4 if you are taking modulo 5, irrespective of whether negative or positive. So you can always think of this as minus 2 plus 5 and then take modulo, or take the modulo and then add k to it, or 5 in this case, and then again take modulo. So this will make it positive. So taking modulo once, it will be in the range, if it's negative, it will be in the range minus 1 to minus 4. Of course, it's not 0 since we are talking about negative. So if you add 5 to it, it will definitely become positive. Then you can take modulo 5, or you don't even need to take modulo 5 if you have taken modulo already. But in Python, you don't need to do that. It will automatically return 3 in this case. And in C++, we will make it return 3 by taking modulo and then adding 5 to it. So let's write the code for this. You can go through this. I had taken the same example. So first we will write it in C++. So what is the space required here? We will need a vector of k size, since we are storing only these values. In this case 5, so 5 values. In general, we will have k values, and this sum we are calculating on the fly. We just need previous value. So space will be O of k and time will be O of n. Counts, its size is k, initialized to 0. Then sum equal to 0. Sum plus equal to x modulo k. So we take the modulo and then add k to it. So if it's negative, it will become positive. But if it was already positive, then adding 5 will make it more than 5. So we take modulo again, so that it will always be in the range 0 to 4. And that is what this size is. Its size is k, first index is 0, last index is k minus 1. Next, counts, and we are just bothered about sum modulo k and not the exact sum, plus plus. So when this loop ends, it will exactly count the different number of indices with different values of remainders. So what we had said, n multiplied by n minus 1 by 2, or in this case c multiplied by c minus 1 divided by 2. And if any of c is odd, then c minus 1 will be even. If c is even, c minus 1 will be odd. So this complete term will always be even, since one of them is even. So we can divide by 2. And what we said, for 0 we need to handle it in a special way. We need to add this number n. So what we can do here, we can initialize with counts 0. You can also add in the end, but let's initialize it. We have to add it anyway. Then return result, and let's run it. And this test case passes, so let's submit. And this solution is accepted, and it's better than 77.67% of the submissions. And resubmitting did not help. Let's try once more. So I don't know why it's always increasing the timing. Now this time we got it to do better than 98.63%, and we are happy that we are close to 100%. Now we will do the same thing in Java and Python. I don't think there is much change in the code required. And here it's 8 millisecond in Java, and now 6 millisecond. So it's quite efficient. It's again O of n runtime and O of k space. Now we will write the same thing in Python 3. Here we don't need this, so we don't need this also. This will always return between 0 and k minus 1, irrespective of positive or negative. So we could have done in one line, but let's skip it. And this should be integer division, otherwise it will return 7.0 for this case. So make sure to change that. And the Python solution is also accepted.